Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, a name synonymous with non-violence and relentless pursuit of truth. His life is a testament to leadership and resilience. Journey with us as we explore the life of the Mahatma, the great soul. Part 1. Early years, marriage and family life from 1869 to 1888. Born on October 2, 1869 in Porbandar, India, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi's early years were filled with the influence of family and tradition. His father, Karamchand, served as a respected chief minister, while his mother, Putlibaya, was a devout woman deeply committed to her Jain faith. Gandhi home was a lively place, where young Mohandas absorbed lessons in duty, morality, and spirituality. At the tender age of 13, he entered an arranged marriage with Kastuba Mukherjee, initiating a complex and evolving relationship that would last a lifetime. Their marriage began with the typical struggles of young love, but it matured into a partnership built on mutual respect and shared values. Kastuba became more than a wife. She was a fellow activist, supporter, and an integral part of Gandhi's life and work. Together, they had 4 sons, Harilal, Manilal, Ramdas, and Bevdas. Raising a family brought joy but also challenges. Gandhi's unwavering commitment to his principles sometimes clashed with his family's desires and needs, especially with his eldest son, Harilal. Despite these internal conflicts, Gandhi strove to create a household that reflected his broader philosophy. Simplicity, education, and spirituality were not just public stances, but a way of life practiced within the walls of his home. Reflect on this phase of Gandhi's life. Can you imagine the humble beginnings of a future world leader? What does his family life teach us about commitment, partnership, and living our values every day? How have your family and relationships shaped who you are? As we delve into the extraordinary life of Mahatma Gandhi, let us begin with these formative years, where a young boy from a coastal town in India started his journey to become a global symbol of peace and resistance. Part 2. Education in London from 1888 to 1890. When 18-year-old Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi set sail for London in 1888, he was stepping into an entirely new world. He had taken a vow in front of his mother to adhere to Hindu principles, which included abstaining from meat, alcohol, and promiscuity, in a city where he knew no one keeping these promises was both a challenge and an anchor. Gandhi's strict vegetarianism led him to the London Vegetarian Society, a decision that would have a lasting impact. Through the society, he was introduced to new ideas, including the works of Henry David Thoreau and Leo Tolstoy. He also met influential thinkers who would guide him on a path of intellectual and spiritual discovery. His commitment to vegetarianism wasn't just about food, it was a philosophy. He read books on health and experimented with his diet, seeing food as a way to purify the mind and body. His vegetarianism became an exploration of self-restraint and simplicity, values that would become central to his later life. Gandhi's studies in law were not particularly inspiring to him, but they were a means to an end. He struggled with public speaking, often fleeing the courtroom during practice sessions. But rather than give up, he joined the London Rowing Club to overcome his shyness, and even took lessons in dance and music. London was also where Gandhi faced and overcame racial prejudice for the first time. It was a lesson in both the ugliness of discrimination and the dignity of standing up for oneself. Though he longed for home, Gandhi's 3 years in London were transformative. He developed a passion for reading and writing, engaged with Western philosophy, and laid the groundwork for his ideas on civil disobedience and passive resistance. Reflect on this time in Gandhi's life. Have you ever felt like a stranger in a new place? How did you adapt and grow? What can we learn from Gandhi's experience in London, his curiosity, his commitment to values, and his ability to turn isolation and struggle into strength? Part 3. South Africa and the birth of Satyagraha from 1893 to 1914. South Africa was the crucible where Gandhi's political identity was forged. Arriving to work as a lawyer, he soon encountered the racial prejudices of the time. The turning point came when he was forcibly removed from a first-class railway compartment because of his race, despite holding a valid ticket. This personal injustice ignited Gandhi's sense of fairness and duty. He responded not with anger, but with a resolve to fight for justice. Organizing the Indian community, he pioneered satyagraha, a form of non-violent resistance, leading campaigns against the harsh treatment of the Indian diaspora in South Africa. This period marked his transformation from an unassuming lawyer into a prominent political leader. His success in these campaigns resonated around the world and laid the groundwork for his future role in India's fight for independence. It was here in South Africa that Gandhi found his voice, his method, and his mission. What sparks your sense of justice? Part 4. Return to India and the non-cooperation movement from 1915 to 1922. Returning to India in 1915, Gandhi found a nation seething under British rule. His reputation as a leader who'd fought for civil rights in South Africa preceded him, and people were eager to see what he would do next. In 1920, Gandhi embarked on a new phase of resistance, the non-cooperation movement. This wasn't just a political stand. It was a social revolution. By refusing to cooperate with the British authorities, Indians could undermine the very system that oppressed them. The movement started with a call for a boycott of British goods and institutions. Schools, courts, and government offices were deserted as Indians followed Gandhi's call. The Khilafat movement, aimed at protecting the Ottoman Caliphate, aligned with Gandhi's cause, bridging Hindu-Muslim relations and giving the movement a pan-Indian appeal. Gandhi's own life became a symbol of his beliefs. He adopted simple living, wearing homespun clothes and living a life of austerity. This wasn't just a personal choice. It was a political statement, connecting him with the common people and reflecting the self-reliance at the heart of the movement. But it wasn't without challenges. The movement had its share of violence and internal dissent. In 1922, after a violent incident in Chauri Chaura, Gandhi called off the movement, recognizing that the nation wasn't yet ready for true non-violent resistance. The non-cooperation movement was a turning point in India's fight for freedom, laying the groundwork for future struggles. It demonstrated the power of peaceful resistance and unity, but also the challenges and complexities of leading a diverse and divided nation. Reflect on Gandhi's leadership during this pivotal time. How do you connect with those around you? What lessons can we learn from the successes and failures of the non-cooperation movement? Part 5. Salt March, year 1930. The Salt March, also known as the Dandi March, was not just a protest, but a masterstroke of political symbolism. It began on March 12, 1930, when Gandhi and 78 of his followers embarked on a 240-mile journey from Sabarmati Ashram to the coastal village of Dandi. Why salt, you may ask? The British had imposed a tax on salt, a basic necessity in every Indian household. By monopolizing its production and taxing it, they were oppressing the very essence of daily life. Gandhi saw this as a symbol of British imperialism that touched every Indian, rich or poor. As Gandhi and his followers marched, they spoke to villagers, explaining their cause and encouraging civil disobedience. The march lasted 24 days, and along the way, the procession grew, resonating with people from all walks of life. Journalists from around the world covered this peaceful yet powerful protest, making it a global event. Upon reaching Dandi on April 6, Gandhi performed a simple yet profound act. He picked up a handful of salt from the seashore, openly defying the British law. This single act ignited a nationwide movement. People across India began to make their own salt, boycotting British goods. The British authorities responded with brutal force, arresting over 60,000 people, including Gandhi himself. But the movement had already taken a life of its own. The Salt March wasn't just a protest against a tax. It was a statement of self-reliance and dignity. It showed the world that non-violent resistance could shake an empire, Gandhi's genius lay in turning an ordinary act into an extraordinary symbol of freedom and resistance. The march is immortalized in Richard Attenborough's film Gandhi, capturing the spirit of a nation awakening to its strength. Reflect on the Salt March. In its simplicity and resolve, what lessons can we draw for our own lives? Have you ever found power in simplicity? How can the mundane become a symbol of change? Part 6. Quit India Movement and Independence, from 1942 to 1947. In August 1942, with World War I.E. raging, Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, a decisive campaign demanding an immediate end to British rule in India. It was a call for do or die, an urgent plea for action that galvanized the Indian people. The movement began with nationwide protests, demonstrations, and strikes, all rooted in non-violent civil disobedience. Gandhi's leadership was instrumental, but it came at a cost. He and other prominent leaders were arrested and imprisoned, leading to a wave of public outrage. Despite these setbacks, the movement continued to grow, showcasing the indomitable spirit of the Indian people. Even behind bars, Gandhi's influence was palpable. His words and principles inspired thousands to join the cause. As the war ended, pressure mounted on the British government. Negotiations were fraught with challenges, including growing tensions between Hindus and Muslims. The path to independence was marred by communal violence, something that deeply pained Gandhi. India finally achieved independence on August 15, 1947, but it came with the traumatic partition into two separate states, India and Pakistan. The joy of freedom was overshadowed by the sorrow of division, displacement, and loss of life. Gandhi, the father of the nation, was both triumphant and heartbroken. He worked tirelessly to heal the wounds of partition, preaching unity and compassion. In those tumultuous times, he fasted, prayed, and traveled to violence-stricken areas, risking his life for peace. Reflect on this defining era in Gandhi's life and India's history. What does it tell us about leadership, resilience, and the price of freedom? How do you navigate your convictions in the face of complex challenges and painful compromises? What can we learn from Gandhi's unwavering commitment to non-violence, even when confronted with the most painful and turbulent times? The Quit India movement and India's independence were not just political events, but a testament to human courage, sacrifice, and the enduring power of peaceful resistance. Part 7. Legacy and Assassination, year 1948. Gandhi's life and mission took a tragic turn on January 30, 1948. The world watched in horror as the Apostle of Peace was struck down by an assassin's bullets. On that fateful evening, as Gandhi was walking to a prayer meeting at Birla House in New Delhi, a man named Nathuram Godse emerged from the crowd. Bowing as if to seek Gandhi's blessings, he suddenly fired 3 shots at point-blank range. The bullets found their mark and Gandhi collapsed, uttering his final words, "Hey, Ram." Nathuram Godse was a staunch Hindu nationalist who believed that Gandhi's appeasement towards Muslims during the turbulent times of partition had betrayed the Hindu community. The assassination shook the nation and the world, triggering an outpouring of grief. The Indian government swiftly arrested Godse and his associates. During his trial, Godse articulated his reasons, offering a glimpse into the complex and divisive politics of the time. He was eventually convicted and executed. Gandhi's assassination marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of a legacy. His philosophies of non-violence, truth, and social justice continued to inspire movements and leaders around the world. His life reminds us that one individual, armed only with conviction and moral courage, can change the course of history. As Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, said in his eulogy, "The light has gone out of our lives, and there is darkness everywhere, and I do not quite know what to tell you or how to say it. Our beloved leader, Bapu, as we called him, the father of the nation, is no more. Reflect on the life and legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. How has his journey inspired you? What can we learn from the loss of such a profound and peaceful leader? Conclusion. Lessons learned. Gandhi's life teaches us about the power of persistence, empathy, simplicity, and moral courage. His transformation from a shy boy to a global icon holds lessons for all aspiring leaders. We end our exploration with one of his most profound quotes. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. A simple statement that encapsulates the essence of Gandhi's life and leadership. Reflect on these words. How do they resonate with you? Share your thoughts, like, subscribe, and suggest the next great leader for us to explore. Together, we uncover the greatness that shapes our world.